Thank you for joining us today for our first triannual meeting of 2024. I'm Amanda Gendek, the manager of the Bureau of Research, Innovation, and Information Transfer. Until we fill our innovation coordinator position, I'll continue to be your hostess with the mostest. And we were approved to backfill that position, so hopefully we'll have someone in that seat by the next STIC meeting, which is going to be in August. So like I said before, everyone's encouraged to turn on your cameras and show your faces to everybody, and just mute yourself if you're not speaking. And my staff excuse me, we'll be monitoring the chat feature. So if you have any questions or comments along the way, please feel free to use that feature and we'll do our best to respond to them all. Okay. All right, so this week is National Work Zone Awareness Week, and it's an annual remembrance of the tragic loss of lives in highway work zone accidents. We also use this as a time for the transportation community, and that includes us in New Jersey STIC, to recommit itself to increasing safety for both workers and motorists. So in observance this week, the NJDOT Employee Memorial Committee placed 41 orange safety cones draped with black ribbon at the site of the employee memorial at DOT headquarters. And each cone represents a DOT employee, one of our coworkers, killed in a highway accident. So each gave their life in service to the department and to the people of New Jersey. So I just ask that you all please take a moment today to remember those individuals and the supreme sacrifice that they made while doing their jobs. Okay. So at this time, I usually welcome my leadership, Assistant Commissioner of Statewide Planning, Safety, and Capital Investment, Eric Powers, and my Director of Statewide Planning, Megan Fackler. But Eric is in a commissioner meeting at the moment, and Megan is not able to attend because she is sick. So it's going to be all me. So welcome, everyone. I'm so glad that you could all join us. We have an exciting topic later on in the agenda today during our always interesting feature presentation segment. So I wanted to welcome and thank Assistant Commissioner Kelly Hutchinson for being with us today to talk about NJDOT's Construction and Maintenance Technician Apprenticeship Training Program. Now that obviously aligns with our EDC Strategic Workforce Development Initiative. So I'm so happy that she could make it today to do the feature presentation a little bit later on today. All right, so let's get right into the next part. And so I would like to now give the floor to Christopher Page, our Innovation Coordinator and Community Planner of our FHWA Division Office, to discuss some FHWA updates. Go ahead, Chris.
Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Just a point of order. I did see Megan on the call. I don't know if she wanted to say.
Yeah, she is on the call, but she's going to be just in a listening mode. So thank you. Thank you for noticing that. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Chris Page. I'm with the division office here in New Jersey. I'm a community planner, and I serve as the community liaison for the STIC Network and EDC Everyday Counts program. So good morning. Just a couple of things. Just wanted to highlight a few things that have been going on over the past few months. The first thing I wanted to highlight is the Accelerated Innovation Deployment, or AID demonstration grant. The FY 2024 solicitation period has been open since February 27th. The notice of intent deadline was yesterday, April 16th. I personally haven't seen anything in regards if anybody has submitted anything, but if that is not the case and someone did, we can definitely entertain a conversation offline. And the closing date for that is May 28th of 2024. So I wanted to highlight that. The second thing I wanted to highlight is the progress reports for round 2. The due date is coming up next month. So I'm asking everyone to please aim to submit those by May 10th. And I want to thank the Mobility and Operations CIA group and the Next Gen TIM team for completing theirs already. So thank you for that. Third thing I wanted to highlight is a few weeks ago, myself and Sushant Darji from NJDOT had the opportunity to attend the EDC 7 Greenhouse Gas Initiative Summit. It was hosted by Colorado DOT out in the Denver area, so we had the opportunity to travel and meet a bunch of transportation professionals from all across the country. We got to hear from a number of state DOTs, MPO staff, and other transportation partners. It was good to hear, what's working well in other states and other regions across the country and what challenges they're facing, and how they're working to overcome those said challenges. And it's great to, take home some of that information and identify some potential practices we may be able to implement here in New Jersey. So I'm looking forward to working with the Planning and Environment Group, looking forward on that initiative and seeing what could potentially be implemented here. So lastly, I just wanted to say, just in between our STIC network meetings, please continue to review the FHWA Center for Accelerating Innovation website. And please consider subscribing to their email thread so that you're able to stay up to date as to what's going on, and so that you're able to be informed in the loop. So that was all I had. I wanted to be brief, but with that, I yield my time back to the agenda.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, so next we are going to hear from all of our core innovation area teams for their updates. And first up, we are going to hear from Dan Lasanti and Alan Huff of our Safety CIA team.
Alrighty, thanks, Amanda. Before I kick it over to Alan for the first slide, I just want to introduce our new director of the Division of Safety Programs and Transportation Data. The name has changed a few times, but that's the official name. So if our new director is Frank Neary, you want to show your face, Frank? I believe you are on this call. And if you want to say a few words or just introduce yourself, that would be great.
Yeah, hi. My camera should be on. I can see myself, so hopefully you can see me.
I see you. I see you.
Yeah. So good morning. Thanks, Dan. Just interested in getting started and learning about everything going on here and doing what we can to make our roads safer in any way possible. I'm here as a resource to you. Just real quick, my background, I started in law enforcement and then since then was in private sector transportation safety at AAA, and most recently at the Division of Highway Traffic Safety, which was the behavioral side of it all. So happy to be a part of the DOT team and looking forward to getting to know everybody.
Great.
Thanks, Frank.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Sorry for calling you out, but
no worries.
Introduce yourself to the group. So
yeah.
You'll learn more about the STIC as time goes on. It's a little bit different from what we do in other functions, let's move on here. Okay, so the first slide, I'm going to let Alan, you guys are aware, I think Alan introduced himself at our last STIC meeting. He's the new safety specialist at our New Jersey FHWA division. So Alan, take the first slide away, please.
All right, thanks, Dan, and welcome, Frank. We're glad to have you here. As part of NJDOT's research task for the New Jersey Bicycle and Pedestrian Resource Center, staff at Rutgers Voorhees Transportation Center in partnership with Rowan University are investigating best practices for street lighting with a focus on vulnerable roadway users. The target audience for the guide is county and municipal governments with the intent of assisting them in identifying and implementing lighting in their communities. The literature review required additional revisions, which is in process by Rowan. Layouts for the sections of the guide that identify best practices for the types and placement of luminaires, which are best for reducing fatalities and serious injuries, are in progress by Rutgers. Additionally, Rutgers VTC has participated in conversations with NJTPA about their recent work standardizing their lighting analyses. Some next steps for this project include finalizing the literature review by Rowan, submitting draft guide outline and sample layouts to NJDOT's Bureau of Safety, Bicycle, and Pedestrian Programs for review, and producing the final deliverable guide for NJDOT review. And with that, I'll hand it back to Dan.
Thanks, Alan. Okay, our next initiative, the NJDOT, through a task order contract, is developing traffic signal pole and mast arm details based on 2015 AASHTO LRFD requirements for signalized intersection installations, including backplates with retroreflective tape on traffic signal indications. Once the new details are completed, the NJDOT will require all new installations to include backplates and retroreflective tape on all signal indications. At this time, NJDOT's Bureau of Traffic Engineering has been installing backplates on signal heads installed on steel mast arms whenever possible. A quick briefing on where they are in the effort. The comments from the first draft submission have been addressed and plans have been resubmitted to the department to review steel poles and mast arms of length 15 through 65 feet. Traffic engineering, along with geotechnical and structural engineering staff, are coordinating the review process. One other note to mention is there's an FHW training on lighting. It's scheduled for May 23rd and 24th in Bordentown Training Facility. And that's our update on our two initiatives. I also want to thank our Bike Ped Resource Center and Leanne and her team. And I want to thank our traffic engineering group, Charu, for all the work they've been doing on these STIC initiatives. Me and Alan are just reporting out, but this is the two people mentioned and their team are doing the legwork and the studies behind this. So we appreciate you guys a lot on this. Lighting is very important in the safety world, and we appreciate working with you and having you guys as partners, and getting to zero. So thank you, everybody.
That's great, Dan. Yeah, our implementation teams, like the individuals that you mentioned, are really the backbone of this program for all of our EDC initiatives. And just because we're in round 7, there's still implementation teams working on previous EDC rounds as well. So we appreciate them all. Okay, next up from our infrastructure preservation core innovation area team, we have Shivani Patel and Nunzio Merla.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Shivani Patel, and I'll be providing the infrastructure preservation updates. Since December, the Internally Cured Concrete Initiative team, under the leadership of Samar Rabi and Jess Mendenhall, has been actively working towards meeting key milestones. Next slide, please. The draft HPIC specifications were circulated for review. The team received comments from department SMEs. Currently, they are working on the comments resolution summary to address and incorporate all of the comments and feedback received on the draft specifications. The team is currently working on incorporating the HPIC specifications into the special provisions of the first pilot project, which is a superstructure replacement in Region North. In the next quarter, the team plans to finalize the specifications and incorporate them in the first pilot project. They will continue to reach out and communicate with concrete suppliers to gauge readiness for producing internally cured concrete and discuss implementation challenges. Team members will also connect with project designers for the selected and upcoming projects. The NJDOT EPIC team was recently invited to the FHWA EPIC Initiative's first peer exchange opportunity to be hosted in Albany, New York on May 29th to the 30th. This is an opportunity to interact directly with and learn from New York State DOT, the lead champions in technology, as well as other states who have adopted this innovation. The agenda includes a demonstration trial batch to see internal curing. We have an update on the EDC UHPC innovation. The team conducted UHPC overlay performance evaluation program second testing in December at 2 locations, I-295 northbound and US 130 north over Mantua Creek in Gloucester County and NJ 159 westbound over Passaic River in Morris County. The analysis is complete and the results indicate that the UHPC overlays are achieving the performance objectives and the bond is intact. Also, NJDOT's UHPC overlay pilot projects have been selected for a presentation at the 2024 National Bridge Preservation Partnership Conference in Salt Lake City, which will take place September 9th through the 13th. So congratulations to the team. Moving on to the EPDs. Since December, the EPDs team has been working on the first phase of the work plan, which consists of 4 simultaneous research efforts. We are currently awaiting further direction from senior leadership regarding the EPDs initiative. Team member Nusrat Morshett is currently participating on the FHWA Climate Challenge grant projects with Rutgers University and Rowan University, which both involve utilizing EPDs for pavements. The goal of Project 1 is to utilize EPDs and LCAs to promote consideration of sustainability in maintaining NJDOT's pavement infrastructure. Project 2 goals include improving sustainability and reducing carbon emissions of asphalt pavement overlays in New Jersey. The FHWA Climate Challenge team provided a 2-day training on March 12th and 13th to NJDOT staff and consultants involved in the climate challenge projects and related activities. Representatives from NJDOT Bureau of Materials, Bureau of Statewide Strategies, Division of Environmental Resources, and Division of Capital Program Support attended the training. Team members will continue work on phase 1 of the work plan, which consists of the 4 simultaneous work efforts, including preparing and sending questionnaires to other state DOT agencies and material suppliers. They will also continue the process of researching and learning more about the EPDs and the current best practices across the country. NJDOT will work on project tasks for the 2 projects related to FHWA's climate challenge. These project tasks include conducting a literature review and learning about the experiences and lessons learned of using FHWA's LCA PAVE tool. In the next couple of months, we hope to obtain a decision from senior leadership on the direction of our would-be effort of the EPD initiative. Thank you.
Okay, if there's any questions. Okay. All right, let's move on to our next core innovation area team, our organizational support and improvement team. And please welcome Crystal Walker and Christopher Page.
Crystal Walker, Resources. All right, so we're just going to get started on the updates for the organizational support and improvement, strategic.
Crystal, you're breaking up just a little bit on my end. Could you try to speak up or maybe adjust your...
Let me try to adjust my sound. Hold on 1 second.
Okay. That sounded a little bit better when you were just speaking, so.
Okay, does it sound better now?
Yes,
Okay,
much better.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Next slide, please. So from the update, we are currently still requesting funding, and it actually has now moved to FHWA for the funding request. If you remember in the initial request, it was through the NJ Build Fund grant, but now it is moved to FHWA. Currently, there has not been an update on the approval status, but we are expecting to have it approved. So we did redirect the request to FHWA through the on-the-job training support services funding allocation process. So currently has not been approved, but we have confidence that it will be approved, and hopefully we'll have that update for the next meeting. Next slide, please. So within the development stages, we are still working our contract compliance unit, still collaborating with the OFCCP and the U.S. Department of Labor, and resulting in these updates. Within the next slide, go over some of the updates. So within highway construction opportunities, through the collaborative updates, we've noticed that we are wanting to implement traditional skilled crafts, job utilizing technology within the lines of line striping systems, intelligent transportation systems, electric vehicle charging stations. So those are the areas of improvement opportunities within construction. So those are the current updates when it comes to the strategic workforce development. Any questions?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Crystal. I appreciate it. All right, up next with our Planning and Environment Core Innovation Area team, we have Sudhir Joshi and Sutapa Bandyopadhyay. You're muted, Sudhir.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sudhir Joshi, and in collaboration with Sutapa from Federal Highway, we have come up with the core innovation areas for planning and environment. That is going to be, we're going to be talking about greenhouse gas as well as the carbon reduction strategies. Can you move next slide, please?
Mm-hmm.
So the greenhouse gas emissions measure. So there was a final rule issued and for greenhouse gas emissions rule, and we were required to submit our targets to Federal Highway by March 29, which we submitted earlier, and we chose this target of declining target of -1% for greenhouse gas emissions for up to calendar 2025. So that is the 4-year performance period that we would be reporting. This final rule, we have chance to update the targets that we selected based on the, anything goes on in the government or new data available. So that's what we're going to be focusing by October 1st, 2024. That is mid-performance period for all the performance measures that we are working on. But recently, the U.S. District Court from Texas, they issued to vacate this final rule of greenhouse gas emissions. So we are at the point where we followed and submit the targets. Now we have to see what we hear from Federal Highway. How do we proceed with this? Because what happens, this rule, the targets we set today, the clock for MPO starts from that day, February 12, to the next 6 months. So they have to submit their targets to Federal Highway. But we have not seen any official notice from Federal Highway that this rule is completely vacated and we don't have to work on that. So we are at the point where we are really need to hear from Federal Highway to see what we can do. But we did our part. What we did, to come up with the -1%. We look at our Governor Murphy's, greenhouse gas target for 2050, declining target, right? We are heading towards zero emissions. Same thing, President Biden. By 2050, we want to have zero emissions. So we look at those data and the previous year data, and we, come up with this target. And of course, we have been, blessed by this decision by our Assistant Commissioner, Eric Powers, and our Director, Megan Fackler. Can you move on, please? Next slide. All right. So now next is very important topic that we are working on right now is carbon reduction strategies. So recently we submitted our document on our NJDOT's website. So, anybody can access this document. It is available. The Federal Highway has approved our carbon reduction strategies somewhere on May 2024. Can move on next, please. So there are 5 carbon reduction categories for the transportation project types to reduce the emissions, which we are already working on, which is promote electric and zero emissions vehicles, use mass transit and active, transportation, support efficient roadways, incorporate efficient construction and maintenance, which we talked, we hear the presentation from Shivani, and enable innovative solutions. Can you move on next? So what is our implementation plan for carbon reduction as well as the greenhouse gas emissions reduction? So we coordinate with MPOs and other stakeholders to assist with the implementation of the greenhouse gas emissions reduction. Also provide resources and guide for promoting expertise and best practices to MPOs, counties, and municipalities. Continue to fund and deliver the projects that reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Incorporate carbon-friendly elements into our existing projects. That is very important for us to do, and purchase cleaner vehicles and construction equipment on the New Jersey's DOTs, equipments that we purchase here from the department or the vehicles. Any more? Next, please. So these are our potential next step we can think of. So we are anticipating to rank and score these carbon reduction and greenhouse gas emissions reductions projects based on the criteria which we're going to be establishing soon. We are working on that. What do we look for in the projects? How do we find how much reduction would be beneficial, for this project? So we're going to come up with our metric, and we'll come up with this criteria, which will, of course, we'll share with MPOs and our other stakeholders. And the reducing greenhouse gas emissions is mandatory criteria for the project selections in STIC. So this is what any projects that we select should have that component that we reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And we anticipate updating our carbon reduction strategies every 2 years, to align with the STIC, whenever we publish the STIC or update the STIC. And we anticipate to evaluate the carbon dioxide or greenhouse gas impacts of the carbon reduction program funds. So there are certain funds right now in our STIC. If you look at our STIC, there are particular amounts available to each MPOs and different categories. So those funds are available for 2024. And as we go forward, this could change the amounts that you can see in the STIC pages. That could change. Anyone next, please? That's it. Thank you very much for your participation and listening.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
And in the chat, Giri shared an NCHRP project regarding carbon reduction that the Bureau of Research is involved with.
Right.
So if you want to check that out. And
Sure.
so Giri, he's actually serving as the chair for that project. So if you have any questions, please reach out to him.
Perfect. Yes, he will be our most important partner here.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sudhir. Okay, up next, we have from our Mobility and Operations Core Innovation Area team, Vandana Mathur and Ake Pomsavath.
Thanks, Amanda. I would be doing the presentation.
Okay.
So we have worked on weather savvy as we have discussed before. If we can go to the next slide. So I would be talking about some of the projects that we're working on right now. We started Weather Savvy a few years back, but last year we decided to expand it. So initially we started with 24 vehicles. We installed Weather Savvy, which is there is a router, there is a camera. So we installed that in our 20. That's how we started in installation in our 24 vehicles. But now we have increased to 35 vehicles right now. It's not a very easy thing to do because you require a lot of maintenance, a lot of scheduling, and we work closely with NGIT, and they make sure that most of our focus is on plows, so they make sure that we have weather savvy, so we are prepared to get the information for the coming winter season. So as far as our performance goes, we are doing pretty well as far as the installations are concerned. Next slide, please. So now we just have 10 more vehicles to add. That will bring our total to 45. That's what initially our plan was. And we really plan to do that by the end of this year, before the real 2024 winter starts. So we are working actively right now is the best time because it's non-peak time. And the main reason for expansion of our weather savvy is so that we have increased coverage and accuracy on our statewide road systems when snow hits us. It's like a real-time situational awareness that we get from the dashboard that we have, that NTIT maintains. Next slide, please. Besides Weather Savvy, we have Groundcast also. We are in the process right now in installing in 5 locations in New Jersey. And where Groundcast is like a cylindrical instrument that goes deep into the ground, and then it puts we put epoxy there. And what it does, there's wireless, there's no cable, nothing. It's a really good technology that measures the road conditions. It measures whether the road is dry, any kind of freezing, like black ice is there. It's just to give us more awareness about the road conditions. Next slide, please. So this is what it looks like, and this is what it does. It measures the surface temperature, whether the road is dry or not dry, and it just gives us the information when the temperature is at -6 to -30. What happens is the whole idea for putting Groundcast on the road is that if or when the road conditions are really bad and there is black ice, it can detect that through the acoustic sensors that are up on the pole. And the whole idea of starting this project is that ultimately that's what we would want to do. If the road conditions are icy and black ice, it will send a notification to the dashboard. And then it's finally going to go to the STEMC and you can get an alert on your phone or wherever the alert on phone, things like that. So ultimately, that is something that we are going to work on. This is just the initial phase. We are still getting the data. Next slide, please. We do get the data. So right now we have it installed in 3. Actually, yesterday we just installed on 295. So we are very proud of that. Right now we have it on Route 29, Route 12, and 295. We are planning to install them on Route 23 and 78. So 78, they're having some construction going on, so that's why they might delay that till August. But Route 23 we'll try to schedule as soon as we can when the temperature is really good and dry. It's easy to do the work. Next slide, please. So this is how it's done. I think the last installation we did at night, we did 2 roads. So that's how it was done. We closed one lane, they drilled the hole, they put the Groundcast in, and then they covered it with epoxy. It normally takes an hour or so. But of course, the other things take a lot of time, like lane closure for the safety and everything. Next slide, please. So that's what we plan to do and we are doing. So if you see this slide, we have a Weather Savvy portal that gives us the information about all the SSP IMARTs, ops trucks that have Weather Savvy in it. We added Groundcast in it too. We are integrating that so all the information is in one platform. Ultimately, everything would move to INET, which is the ATMS. But as of now, the integration is, we are integrating it with Weather Savvy portal. So it makes things a lot easier. We are not opening different login windows to get the information. Next slide, please. Another thing that I talked about last time was the truck parking. And we did discuss that truck parking is a major issue right now all over the country, because there are no parking spots. And the truck drivers are having a very tough time. It makes it very unsafe to park the trucks because they're parking the trucks in the median, wherever they're finding the spot. Next slide, please. So 2,915 truck parking spaces are available in New Jersey, but they are not enough. We are trying to figure out different parts of New Jersey where we can add some more parking. That's not being done by our unit. What we do in order to help our department is the pilot that we started is we are trying to put the pucks in there and the cameras in a rest area. And that gives us the information, how many parking spots are available and how long the truck has been there. Next slide, please. So that's what actually, if you look at the pictures on the right, so this is the picture of the parking space that we have. So what happens is that we can find out for how long the truck is there, what time did it came, what time did it leave. So that's going to give us some option to the drivers, whether the parking spot is available there or not. So because this is still in the initial stages, we started in 2021, and we have moved on to two rest areas in New Jersey. So we are trying to figure out which is the most efficient way to pass on this information to the truckers that the parking is available at this rest area. The whole idea is that in a couple of years, when we have good data to work on, to have a dashboard, some DMS signs that how many parking spots are available, which we plan to put it a little closer to the rest area so that they know that they can park in that area. Next slide, please. So this is for the Harding. We started in 2021. We had 9 CCTV cameras and 44 in-page sensors. As I said, we had the pucks in there. Underground, just like groundcast. Groundcast was a little longer. These pucks are a little shorter than that. And that's the same process. They put 2 pucks in 1 parking slot. Next slide, please. And this is for the deep water truck rest area that we did last year, Carney's Point. So we have put the sensors in there right now in the spots. At this time, we are in the process of putting the cameras in there, the entrance and the exit. So that's something that we are working with maintenance, with facilities, and figure out what is the best day for NGIT to go with their contractor to put the cameras in. Once that is done, then we'll have some more data, some substantial data. Next, please. This is how we did that. The same process. Here, there was nothing was closed. They just went to the parking and they just dig the hole, drill the hole, put the pucks in, put the epox in, and they were done. These things don't really take that long a time. I think the biggest, the longest time they take is in the coordination because many people are involved in this. Next slide, please. And this is the dashboard that we have. It gives number of trucks and other vehicles entering, main parking lot utilization, and average dwell time of the vehicles, how long the vehicles were there. And then we have the access to the camera feed, so we can look at the dashboard and find out how many spots are available. Next slide, please. And this is another image of the portal that we have, the dashboard. These are very beneficial, but we are still, since we're in the initial stages, once we are there for a couple of years, once we get that data, it would be a lot easier to work on expanding this project. Next. That's it. I think I'm done.
Okay.
If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you. We did have a
Welcome.
question from the chat. Go ahead, Giri.
Yes, we have a couple of questions for our CA
Sure.
teams. First question for Dan from Deanna Stockton. How do we get information on the training that you just mentioned for May 23rd, 24? Is it open to LPAs?
Alan, do you want to say anything about that with the training in Boardingtown?
Yes.
You could send an email to who is it, Diane from Princeton? Diana?
Deanna.
Yeah,
Deanna.
how you doing? You could send an email directly to me or directly and copy Alan or vice versa, and we could get information to you.
Yep.
Does that work?
And
Yeah.
All right. Yep.
And we also have a question for Sudhir from Patel Girish Kumar. Any plans on incentivizing the contractors to use or purchasing the equipment that are going to help our carbon strategy?
You gotta unmute yourself first.
Sorry about that.
Good, that's okay.
Guys, at this point, I don't believe we have direct incentives for the contractors to buy equipments to reduce the carbon, but we are focused on our NJDOT's projects and the fleet to reduce the carbon, apply these carbon strategies that we talked about, but we do encourage the contractors to use new technologies to reduce the carbon in even construction or maintenance. But for equipment purpose, I don't believe we have any direct program. Again, if Federal Highway, Chris or somebody can have some more information, I would appreciate. But I don't believe there is any program that would help contractor directly to purchase the fleet with low carbon.
Yeah, Sudhir, good morning. This is Ali Najib from Structures.
Hey, Ali, how are you?
Yes, how are you? Just to the low carbon, actually a bill was passed. I believe January or something. And so by the governors and everything and governor's office. And so it's an incentive for the contract, as Sudhir says, it's an incentive for the contractors to use low carbon, in their concrete mixes and things like that to help the environment and things like that. However, as the incentive, DOT is not really offering them incentive. Here is extra money for you to do this. It's an incentive that the contractor, I guess they can go to the state and say, you know what, I'm using low carbon, and the state will give him the incentive. So it's a bill that was passed, and what we are going to do is we are right now on our bridge resource program, we are looking into a low carbon mix, and so we are in the process of coming up with some sort of specification that we could include in our in our projects. So I just want to let you know that's just purely an incentive for contractor.
Right. Now I have seen a lot of projects or the strategies that we are working on that, the contractors, if they come up with new technology to reduce the carbon emissions, we encourage them and we do trial segments and see how for, let's say, 2 miles of roadway, if you use concrete mixes, which reduces the carbon overall, how it's going to change, what is the content of the carbon dioxide emissions are reduced for that segment of the roadway. And once we have those kind of parameters, and then that could become mainstream. And I'm sure there are a lot of programs coming up, and there could be in future, for contractors to get advantage if they have if they can manage entire project with this kind of concrete or asphalt or whatever it is, there might be incentive built into the contract or the bid that they do. But that's selection process and all different things is whole new ball game. But I want to go into that. But yeah, directly we're not providing any incentive to contractors, but yes, there is indirectly built-in incentives to contractors, as you said.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Sudhir. And Sudhir, I also posted the link for the grant program that Nazim mentioned for FSWA. Yeah, for carbon reduction. Yeah, and we also have 2 questions for Vandana. So this is for so this thing detects dihydrogen monoxide in the payment, and that is from Richard, and David Amen also asked questions. How many ground cast installations in this pilot period?
So we are trying to do 5 installations. We have already done 3. We'll be doing 2 more. And I'm not really sure about the carbon monoxide if it detects that. I think it's only for that particular, for weather, road conditions.
Okay, thank you.
But I don't know. It's too technical. I can ask someone and let you know. What I know, I can tell.
Thank you. And we also have comment from Jennifer. SJTPO is finalizing a regional freight effort, which did an initial inventory of available truck parking on the local system. So William Chevy is the lead for this effort. If there is any questions, so they, yeah, Jennifer posted that comment. If anyone has that questions, so please reach out to Jennifer. Yeah,
Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate that.
and that's it, Amanda. So we can.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much, Giri, for monitoring the chat. Thank you, everyone, for your comments and questions. And thank you to all of our core innovation area team leads and liaisons. So we're going to move right into our feature presentation. And please welcome Kelly Hutchinson, our NJDOT Assistant Commissioner. So she's going to be speaking about the Construction and Maintenance Technician Apprenticeship training program that we have at NJDOT. So take it away, Kelly.
So good morning, and thank you everyone first for letting me present today. It was supposed to be our HR training consultant, Michelle Shapiro, former HR director, as she is heavily involved in the development of this training. It's been over a year. We're close to initiation, but so bear with me. These are her words. And if I stumble a bit, that's why. I'll do my best to hold all the questions to the end, and we'll do our best to answer them. So this is an exciting workforce development initiative that we have poured a lot of time and effort into, as I just said. And it's not a Department of Labor apprenticeship program. The Civil Service Commission uses apprenticeship. It distinguishes a trainee. So apprenticeship is a 2-year program. So that's sort of why we use the word apprenticeship versus the word trainee. Trainee is a 12-month program. And we designed this specifically for our construction inspection employees. So next slide, please. So why did we decide to come up with this program? So it's probably best to provide everyone with some background first, so you have a better understanding of why we are engaging in this effort. Historically, the entry point to our construction inspector title series required candidates for the position to possess related construction experience, which is not really attainable outside the transportation construction industry. In addition, it wasn't an entry-level position. It was considered competitive, which means the title required candidates and appointees to take a civil service test. And these two things alone, the requirement to have prior construction experience and be subject to a competitive civil service exam, led to significant staffing shortages because there was an apparent lack of truly qualified applicants who were responding to all of our recruitment efforts. And not only once we got them in the door, some didn't qualify to take or pass the civil service exam. So that meant that these employees weren't achieving permanent status, they weren't able to advance, and also caused retention problems. It also meant that if we did have a long list of individuals or veterans or disabled veterans took the test, some of our provisional employees that were here for several years got displaced and were put out on the street. So there were just a lot of issues with the way the civil service title for construction and maintenance technician was structured. And as you can imagine, it was disruptive, it was inefficient to the way we do business, and we knew without a change, we would not be able to sustain supporting our construction inspection function. So we had to do something, right? Next slide, please. All right, so in addition to the recruitment and retention difficulties, we found that our inspectors didn't possess consistent skill sets. So as we all know, one supervisor would do it one way, another supervisor would do it another way, and individuals just didn't have the same skill set depending on what projects they were inspecting or who they were, like who was their mentor, who was their supervisor. And training was really dependent on who they were assigned to and everyone's different approach. So given the fact that everyone was trained differently, had varying skill sets, their roles in our construction inspection oversight were varied from region to region and supervisor to supervisor, which led to a greater need to augment staffing with outside resources for inspection work. Next slide, please. So we knew we needed a change. We talked about the why. So what, and we couldn't continue to operate this way. So first thing we did, we knew we had to change the requirements for the entry-level C&M technician title. Specifically, we eliminated the need for prior experience and the need for civil service testing, right? So not only did we said, hey, we're going to take, as long as you have taken or passed basic math requirements, a high school level, we're good to go. We also had to change our philosophy. There was no longer a consistently viable candidate pool that made up people with related experience. And we thought the best philosophy to adopt was to develop or grow our own inspectors, to develop our own talent. And finally, we had to change our training format, and this is what we've been doing right now, and we're in the final stages. We no longer could afford to have such an inconsistent approach to training. Since our newly appointed apprentices will no longer have construction or inspection experience, our training program has to start with the basics, and then we'll build upon that base over the next 2 years. The program must also have a consistent format for all apprentices, no matter what region or what bureau they are assigned to. We want to ensure that the training program contains measurable achievement factors and reasonable, so that any given time, the apprentice and their supervisor will know how the apprentice is measuring up to the established expectations. Next slide, please. So here are the more specifics. When we say no experience, experience was no longer required. We changed the requirements to remove any need for that prior experience, and you'll see under modifying the title, a candidate only has to have a high school diploma or equivalent demonstrating completion of courses in basic math, including geometry and algebra levels 1 and 2. So there we go, number 1. Next thing, we moved the title from the competitive division to the non-competitive division. So no civil service exam is required to achieve permanent status. The appointee only needs to successfully complete the training period to attain permanent status and qualify for the advancement. Let me just turn this off. And lastly, the title now has a built-in training apprentice period of 2 years, which we talked about. And once you develop and demonstrate those competencies and proficiencies in the role, if you're satisfactory, you'll advance to the primary journey person title. If not, that employee is separated from employment. So, but there are stipulations built into the title's official job spec, so they hit milestones and core competencies throughout the way. Next slide, please. So brings us to this important piece, the training and development piece. So once we had the title structure in place, and we had that done, I think around 2021, I believe it was important for us to address the training. And we wanted something that was structured and consistent, like I had mentioned, and we wanted it designed in a way that employees can understand clearly the requirements and the timelines. We also wanted to ensure that employees receive uniform training and better exposure to more diverse hands-on work. In addition, we want to ensure that our supervisors have a consistent method of training delivery and objective and consistent standard of evaluation. The training program also must be reasonable and measurable with the completion requirements. We approach this by ensuring we cover a broad range of topics in a strategic way. Inspectors must be familiar with all aspects of construction. As anyone who's in construction can imagine, this is pretty comprehensive. To provide you some insight, the Manual of Standard Specs for Road and Bridge Construction is almost 600 pages. We wanted to ensure we covered everything without overwhelming the apprentices. We believe this could be accomplished by including different training methods. We also wanted to ensure that the program has clear and measurable completion requirements so that both the supervisor and the employee understand their progress at any time. Our end goal for this training program is to produce more broadly knowledgeable inspectors this will also provide for a more equitable distribution of advancement opportunities, since everyone will be exposed to the same baseline training. We hope it will naturally provide better cross-training opportunities for our employees, allowing for employee mobility, which is extremely difficult at the present. We will also be creating a more diverse knowledge base than we have at present, which should increase the inspector's effectiveness and efficiency, thus reducing the need to augment staffing using outside resources for inspection work. So I know you're all wondering, how did we put all this together to create a training program that will produce results that we're looking for? So here we go. Segment 1. We actually have 4 segments. We expect, that the apprentice will complete all 4 segments within their 2-year training period. The first segment is an independent study of NJDOT's standard specifications for road and bridge construction manual. This is an online reading-based interactive training module. The reading material covers every page of the almost 600-page manual, which could be overwhelming if assigned just to be read as it is published. However, our training module breaks the material into manageable and easily digestible segments delivered in different formats. The goal is to not teach the apprentice to memorize the information, but to become familiar with and feel comfortable referencing the manual. The training modules contain knowledge check questions throughout, creating a more interactive feel. At the end of each section, 15 in total, there is a quiz. An apprentice must achieve a minimum score of 80% to pass each quiz. Segment 2 is the completion of a select collection of online training modules designed and delivered by the Transportation Curriculum Coordination Council, TC3. The entire collection is about 70 hours of training, addressing key construction and inspection topics that include worksite videos. The training also includes regular knowledge check questions. Next slide. There we go. Amanda and I are in sync today. Segment 3 is the completion of select in-person and online transportation inspection certification courses. As we began discussions about this training program, one fact became clear. We expected the augmented inspection staff, those from the outside, to have training and certifications in areas that we did not require our own inspection staff to have. We wanted to change that to improve upon the expectations of our own workforce. We've identified 11 certification training courses that every apprentice will be expected to take. There are an additional 3 courses for apprentice employees assigned to the Bureau of Materials. Our goal is to have NJDOT inspection staff obtain and maintain these certifications throughout their career. Now, the 4th segment is the apprentice's successful completion of field training exercises demonstrating field inspection competency. To achieve that, we've identified all of the possible field inspection tasks that inspection staff could encounter. Each task is assigned a specific number of points, depending on the likelihood that the particular task would be encountered in a 2-year period. The lower the likelihood, the lower the point value for that task. There are some tasks that have no point value, but will be encountered as extra credit if employee is able to demonstrate a competency. When we develop the questions and the appropriate responses for each task, we then develop the questions and appropriate responses for each task. When an apprentice wishes to demonstrate competency on a particular task, they will be asked a series of these questions by the task supervisor. And if answered correctly, they'll be credited with the number of points associated with that task. In order to successfully pass the segment of the training, the apprentice will have to gain an 80% of the total number of points assigned for all tasks. I can tell you what, I don't want to take this, but we're going to have some very well-trained, certified employees, I'll tell you that. So final slide before we take any questions is our implementation plan. As you've just heard from me talking about all the tasks and checks in the 600-page book, it was a large undertaking with CPM operations and our training staff. So fall of 2024 is when we hope to initiate the implementation of the training. And our target group is going to be all non-supervisory construction and maintenance technicians. And we hope that they complete it in 18 months. And then the new apprentice appointees will be assigned the training program upon hire. One thing that isn't in the slide that is, I mentioned all the new certifications. I mentioned the training program. We were able to elevate with all of this information. The individuals now come in at a higher step and salary range, 2 ranges, than they did before when it was entry level, even competitive. So not only did we make it easier for people open our Canada pull up, they're getting paid more money. So, and when they advance, and it's an automatic advancement to the next level, which before was also a competitive process. So it's a win-win-win in my book. And with that, I know I went really fast through the presentation, and it was a lot of information, but I'd rather have a dialogue if anyone has any questions.
Great. Thank you, Kelly. Gary, do we have any questions or comments in the chat?
Yes, we do have a couple of comments from our participants here. I think Richard mentioned can we clarify the distinction between apprenticeship, internship, and probationary period and an introductory course? And Patel Girish Kumar is also mentioning that, they support the program and he can help any way, HR wants them to help. Yeah, these are the comments.
So we do have something called the Understanding Civil Service Commission, and that is given by Michelle Shapiro, our former HR director, and retired and came back as a training consultant. So she gives that about once a month, and it can be found on LMS if anyone has any questions. Our DOT employees, at least I know we have county and FHWA, but we do give an introductory course called Understanding the Civil Service Commission, which goes over probationary period, competitive, non-competitive, all the civil service jargon. An apprenticeship is really 2 years. Like I said, trainee is 1 year, and an internship, I don't use that word because that comes with all kinds of legal requirements. We call it a summer work program, a summer student work program. And that's how we get around the internship, and they're always all paid. Currently our summer student work program, we had 57 vacancies, and we're looking to onboard individuals May 28th. So that's kind of the the difference between them. And then as far as recruitment efforts, we already started recruiting back when we had the new title. We knew it was going to take a while to initiate the training program. So the apprentices that are here are kind of grandfathered in if they've already passed their probationary period. They're just going to have to take it as we level set every C&M tech that isn't a supervisor. So that's kind of what we've done. And once this is up and running, a new hire will start right after they're hired. So we didn't want to hold up our recruitment efforts until we got this training set up.
Yeah. Thank you, Kelly. That's it, Amanda. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Kelly, I had a question real quick. So can you go a little bit more into detail about your recruitment efforts? I mean, do we visit high schools and things like that in the area? Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of tried, we take a multiple prong approach. A few things. One, we go to all the different career fairs in, like, civil service has them. So right now, actually tomorrow we have a vocational one where at Mercer County. It's their first vocational/trade. So we're going there hoping we can get some C&M tech apprentices. We do speak with a lot. We're part of like this Guidance Counselor Association newsletter. So we send them our postings and they get it out to all the different guidance counselors throughout the state. We do things, we have different job boards where we try to hit many diverse candidates, are underrepresented. This is one of our underrepresented titles, specifically with women. So we really try to target females that might be interested in this. We've done everything from soup kitchens to community organizations. We've gone to when different counties or municipalities have, I believe last year we attended two in Newark, one in Camden. So we were invited by their, mayors or assembly people to attend, and we've gone. So we kind of do run the gamut. But most recently, which we're really excited about in the fall, we are teaming up with our civil rights team again. Rebecca Sabelli, our new recruitment manager, and Quadria Tankard, our new DEI program supervisor, are joining forces to do the ASHTO STEM outreach program. So we're really excited. If anyone on the call who works for DOT wants to be a volunteer, we're going to need volunteers to assist with the different programming in the schools. So that is something that we are excited to start in the fall.
Great. Thank you very much.
We
Sure.
also have one more question.
Okay.
From Rabi's Summer. So on what device do you anticipate that apprentices will take the ASTO technical training solutions courses? The courses might require formatting for different devices, and this can be coordinated with ASTO if tablets and phones are more popular.
I will certainly pass that along, Samer. I think that's a good point. I don't know now. I think it's going to be all through our LMS, so I think it's going to be the work computers, but I'm not sure, Crystal, if you could speak to that, if LMS is available through a phone or tablet. That I'm not sure.
Currently, right now, it is computers, but we will look into if there is some opportunities for to use tablets or phones. But as of current processing and going through the testing, we are looking for more computers. But that's good information to know. Thank you.
Yeah. And also we have hand raise, first of order, William. So.
Hi, Kelly. Thank you for the presentation. And just for full disclosure, right, I come to this meeting as a ACEC representative, so on the consultant side. So I have a couple questions, and I think more just getting perspective. First assumption is this is NJDOT only, right?
Yep.
So again, probably not doing, this is more me being my former DOT self. How do you protect against doing all this apprenticeship work, training up all these people, and then compete against the consultant industry? I don't know that you have an answer for that, but that's just something to prepare for, right? Because we're having the same problem of getting staff to fulfill all these roles competitively, right? As consultants, we support the DOT and help deliver the program. So I don't want to see you train everybody up and then lose all your staff, because the program's awesome and it's good for the industry and it's good to get people into the industry. And a second part to that question is, we're finding we have a tough time at these entry-level positions competing against, say, fulfillment centers, right? The Amazons of the world, who can pay comparable salaries, full-time benefits, very structured work hours, things like that. And when these salaries are so low, it's hard to compete against that. So those are just two perspectives that, listening to the presentation, I wouldn't mind hearing your thoughts on, or maybe it's just kind of communicating it so you can plan for some of the challenges that may come down the line.
Well, no, and I appreciate that. And Will, is that your name?
You can call me Bill. It's just,
Bill, okay.
the way these things populate, right?
Yeah, right. So my background was, I was before the assistant commissioner, HR director, and then recruitment manager. So recruitment is my passion, right? That's where, if you talk to anybody, any of my staff, recruitment and training are my two passions, right? In human resources. And that's something we see heavily with the trades, and we see with our professional technicians. So when I first started at DOT, now I've been in human resources about 19 years with the state, but DOT 9.5 years. And the big thing was, engineers were leaving in droves for the same reason. Our engineers came in, they got the experience, and then they went off to the consultant or contractor world to go make $30,000 more. And what we found over the last several years is that's just not happening anymore with our professional level individuals. This happens here and there, but our engineers aren't leaving. It's our C&M techs, like you had mentioned, and our trades individuals are leaving. We have the same issue with our highway operation technicians. They come in, we train them for 6 months, they get their CDL through us, and then, as you mentioned, the trucking industry, bus industry, whoever, scoops them up because they can make more money. And we implemented exit surveys and to really kind of dive into more why people are leaving. And while salary is there, it's not the number one thing. Believe it or not, a lot of it is management or supervision. Right? I'm going to be honest.
No, it's very true.
So if you can get that culture piece, someone will stay for $10,000 if you can check the boxes for the other reasons people leave, right? You're going to have an attrition. If you have a healthy attrition rate is about 10%, 7 to 10%. Why? It's just healthy. You can't, if people don't leave while retention is great, your organization becomes stagnant. And if you have 20% leave, it's too much. You're spending all this time and effort. So this is my long-winded way of saying, we know we're going to lose people once we train them, but we hope that we provide an environment that people will, that advance. Sorry, by the way, we have construction going on my wing and I didn't shut my door because I'm lazy. But we have provided an environment where in a year, you get the cost of livings with the union, you get a step increase during the apprenticeship, and then in 2 years, you automatically get promoted. So hopefully that helps. And then but I would love to talk about, I think it is a partnership with the construction industry, the consultant industry and us. And maybe this is something we could roll out, in partnership to really help those that maybe are underserved or might not have this opportunity. I mean, we have, maybe there's some other way that we can help each other, right? So we're not stealing from one another. So that's something we can definitely look for.
I think as you get it figured out, right? Like you're still in the infancy, so to speak. I mean, even though you spend a lot of time and effort, the implementation becomes the challenge. I think that ACEC could be a good partner, right? And that then goes to the culture part you're talking about. If we're all working together on the project at the end of the day anyway, and it's a shared sort of investment of time and energy, maybe we can help bring some of the people to help train, or maybe we can actually invest in it, or accept maybe a lesser cost initially to get people trained up. It could take many forms, but at the end of the day, I think to prevent against you becoming the feeder to the rest of the industry, there's probably some path there that should be talked about. I think it would be good for everybody.
Yeah, I agree.
Awesome.
So don't steal our people, Bill.
Nah, I wish I had that kind of control, right? I just get to throw the ideas out there and turn off my monitor and walk away. So it's it's all good.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Bill. Next we have Ali Nazem.
Yes, good morning, Kelly. How you doing?
Doing well.
Okay. This is not really related to anything, but it's just for an information thing. I know some people that applied for a certain job posting a long time ago, like probably January or February something. They haven't heard anything from DOT. Does that mean that they're not accepted, or shouldn't they receive a rejection letter or acceptance letter or whatever? What's the wait time? Yeah, this is specifically for one title. I think it was called environmental tech something.
So here's the thing. Normally they get this is for everyone's benefit, just real quickly. Our online employment application is online. So when candidates apply, they get a response whether they're missing documents, they're disqualified, or they're moving on to the next phase. But I'm going to tell you this, we're working on something, so it's going to hold everyone accountable, because 99% of the time it's not HR's fault, it's management's, because they don't interview timely and they hold on to things. So we're gonna be very transparent very soon, and the candidate will be able. We're working on something where the candidate's going to be able to see the entire where they are through the process.
Well, the candidate interviewed back in January or something.
Well,
They
then
did
that's
interview.
probably, then again,
they haven't heard
I don't want to
anything.
I don't want to take everyone's time up with this, so you can
Right.
speak. I would speak directly to your personnel administrator, but my guess is that either they didn't make a selection yet, or HR doesn't have all the paperwork for the offer. Sometimes we hold for multiple positions, so if we post in January, but we know more positions are coming up, we won't close it out. We have about 6 months to hire, so just so that you know, we try to do it in 2 to 3, but you do have 6 months to hire. But I don't want to take everyone's time up for something so specific.
Well,
so I would talk to your personnel administrator, okay?
So when you say personnel administrator, who specifically you're talking about?
Well, it depends on, you should take this offline and talk to whoever your personnel administrator is in that unit. So if the person applied in CPM, you talk to Tiffany Salter. If they applied in operations, you talk to Stephanie Chandler. If it was in so that's what I would do, okay?
Okay, thank you so much. Have a good day.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Too.
Thank you. Next, we have Deanna Stockton. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I'm the municipal engineer in Princeton, but I'm also representing the New Jersey Society of Municipal Engineers. And in response to Bill McGarrigle, we are starting conversations with Rutgers Kate about restarting our municipal construction inspection training program through the Society of Municipal Engineers. So that may be a complementary program to what DOT is doing at the state level. And Kelly, I'd love to reach out to you to get more information and maybe connect with you so that we can have some synergies there and get more interest in inspection training programs. So
yeah,
that
awesome.
was all I wanted to feed in.
I love it. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's great. Thank you so much, everybody, for your questions and comments, and thank you, Kelly, for addressing them all. Okay, so now for some announcements and reminders before we adjourn. As always, please make sure that you bookmark our tech transfer website, which hosts the New Jersey STIC webpage, where you can find all of our STIC business, articles, meeting recordings, including this one, and a nice summary of each meeting, STIC incentive grant guidance, and much more. So please make sure you visit these websites and bookmark them. Okay, so in support of our New Jersey STIC mission, NJDOT invites anyone, including the public, to submit innovative ideas and research ideas via a link provided on that tech transfer website. And there's also a link on the NJDOT intranet site, accessible to NJDOT employees only. Excuse me. And once you easily register for an account, you can submit new ideas, you can browse other ideas people have submitted, you can comment on them, you can upvote ideas for research and innovation. So please feel free to share this link with your networks and promote the submission of new ideas. And you can also access the portal through the tech transfer website, like I said. All right. And speaking of innovation, we have, it's now $125,000 each federal fiscal year for STIC incentive funding, and that's still on the table. And we need your help in identifying projects to utilize this funding. And these funds can be used to help advance your EDC efforts. So that's goes for all of our CIA team leads and in implementation teams. And we've also developed some guidance to help applicants out, and you can find that guidance on our tech transfer website. And I also have a dedicated contract administrator who's willing to assist applicants as well. So don't let the application part of it, intimidate you. We're here to help you. And the blue link there that you see has all the information that you need to get started. But if you have any questions about the program, obviously, please contact me. And the white link at the bottom there is a link that takes you to FHWA's STIC page that shows all the different ways that other states have used STIC incentive funding. So here is a screenshot that shows you the many ways that STIC incentive funding has been used. It's been used for modeling, strategic plans, pilot projects, procurement of safety devices. The list goes on. There's development of specification, pilot of a debris removal tool, peer exchanges, workforce development pilot program. So the possibilities are endless. So, please take a look at these examples and let us know if you would like to apply for this funding. And another announcement I would like to bring to your attention is that May 1st is the deadline for our Build a Better Mousetrap competition. Where we are looking for submissions from employees of local or state public agencies, and that includes municipalities, counties, parks, commissions, NJDOT, New Jersey Transit, people who have come up with innovative problem solutions or found better ways to do certain tasks. And the website at the bottom is where you can find the form to enter. And again, that deadline is May 1st. And my next slide, I'm going to try to play a new video that we produced. When I practiced it, the sound didn't come up. So if the sound does not come up, I have an alternative solution that we're going to try at the very end of the meeting. So just bear with me. And I'll have to ask Geary to let me know if you guys can hear the sound. There's supposed to be music right now.
No,
Okay.
no, madam. Yeah.
Okay. You pause it. Okay. Oops. All right, now I need to get out of this if I can. Okay. All right, let's just skip over that for now. So right now, as many of you know, we switched over to a triannual meeting schedule, and the meeting invitations have already gone out, so they should already be on your calendars already. But if not, please let me know. And if you are at this meeting right now and you would like to be on our distribution list, please let me know, and I can add you to our lovely growing list of participants so that you'll get the meeting invitations in the future. And if you're on the executive team, the planning meetings are July 17th and November 6th. That's where we all get together behind the scenes and kind of plan out what we're going to be talking about at these meetings. And for everyone else, just pay attention to those bottom two meetings, excuse me, August 7th and December 18th. All right, so I'm going to quickly thank everyone, and then I'm going to try my alternative solution for this video. So I just wanted to thank Kelly, our guest speaker, and our core innovation area teams, and all of our council members, the implementation teams especially, and all the friends that have joined us today. You are what makes this group a nationally recognized award-winning STIC. So thank you so much for your support today and your continued support. And so I'm going to try right now to, let's see. So I have two instances of myself pulled up here, and I'm going to see if I can give control to myself. I'm going to stop presenting. Excuse me. And I'm going to share. Okay. Ragna or Geary, this isn't working on my end. Do you want to see if you can do it from your computer?
Sure, Amanda, I can share that.
Okay.
Screen. Yeah, I already opened it. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not seeing anything or hearing anything on your
Yes.
end, Gary.
Yes, it's still working on, madam. So
It's not
because of-
working on yours either.
yes, I think.
Okay.
Pragma, Pragma
Okay, well, if you go to njdottechtransfer.net, that video should be one of the first things in the thing that scrolls. I forget what it's called, but it's scrolling at on the front page. So that's njdottechtransfer.net. And it's a few-minute video in promotion of our Build a Better Mousetrap competition. So my apologies for that not working for you today, but overall, I really think that this meeting was a big success, and I'm so glad about the conversations and the questions that we had about the recruitment or the apprenticeship program. It's going to be a very exciting program. So thank you all for your time today, and we're going to be adjourning a little bit early today, so you get about 20 minutes back of your day. And hopefully we will see you again soon. Gary, do we have anything in the chat that's coming up?
I have the link for the video in the chat.
Okay, so the link for the video, thank you, Gary. The link for the video is in the chat as well. So we recorded this meeting, and so we will post that on the njdottechtransfer.net website in case you want to share it with any of your colleagues. All right. All right, so thank you so much, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care, everyone.
Enjoy the day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
And Gary, you can stop recording when you get a chance as well. And thank you for doing that.
Stop recording.